Hey, what's going on, guys? What I didn't mention in the video that you guys are about to see here is that instead of finding your motivated sellers first, you can actually reverse this process and find your cash buyers first. Find out what they're searching for, and then go out and find your motivated seller that fits that buyer's criteria, so that way you can kind of shorten that process between finding the property and getting it sold. So, let me go ahead and kick it into myself so we can start this video. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brian with the Wholesaling Playbook, and today we're going to do a step-by-step guide on how to wholesale a house from A to Z so that you can go ahead and get paid. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on this video here so that way you can also be notified of every time that I go ahead and release a brand new video out to you guys. So let's go ahead and get started on this video. Alright guys, so when wholesaling houses, what's the first thing that we need to do? Well, we need to find a motivated seller. Now, what is a motivated seller? Well, that's somebody who has a problem property and they need to get rid of it quick. They could have inherited this house. This house could be vacant. They could be a tired landlord. Whatever that situation is, they are motivated to get rid of this house, and this is where you come in to help them and be that problem solver for them. Now that we have that motivated seller calling us, it's time for us to go and negotiate the price. That's step number 2. So, what is the price that we negotiate? Well, that price is going to be anywhere from 20 to 50% of the ARV. And the ARV is the after repaired value. So, we're going to negotiate a price based off the comps that we have ran in that neighborhood, anywhere from 0.5 miles to 1 mile around that area. So when you're going into your negotiations, you want to make sure that you have all of your ducks lined up in a row, so that way you know exactly where you need to be on the purchase price of this home. Now that you've got that motivated seller, you've negotiated a purchase price with them, now it's time to add in your assignment fee. And of course, you don't want anything less than $2,500 for an assignment fee. Sometimes you may have to take less. It just kind of happens in this game here. So once you've got that price with the seller, you've added in your assignment fee of what you want to make on the deal. This is going to be your selling price to your cash buyer. So you want to make sure that, of course, your comps have been ran correctly, and that you have gotten the price low enough on your end so that way you're happy with it and your seller is happy with it. So now that we've done that, let's move on to step number 4, finding a cash buyer. Let's get these cash buyers looking at your property that you just got under contract with the seller. Now you know you've done all of your due diligence on your end, you've negotiated a great price, you put in your assignment fee what you want to make. Let's go get this buyer. So where do you find these buyers at? And these buyers are all over the place. So you want to make sure that in your business you're telling everybody exactly what you do, because you never know where you'll run into a cash buyer. Craigslist, Facebook, your local RIA, these are all the places that you are going to want to network in to find these cash buyers. And once you get a cash buyer, you're going to want to have a lot of these, but you'll realize that only a few of them will be actual performing cash buyers. So make sure that you're talking to everybody every day, letting them know exactly what you do. And this is how you get cash buyers. You've marketed your property out on Craigslist, you went to the RIA meetings, it's on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to put this property at. And now you've got a cash buyer ringing your phone. So what do? You take them to the property, let them see it, they're excited about it, it's priced right, sign the contract with the buyer at that property. Now, will all buyers do this? No. Some will haggle with you and try and get the price down, but this is where you want to make sure that you have your assignment fee high enough so that if the price has to come down on the property, that you don't take a huge haircut on that deal. So, get that contract signed with the cash buyer. That'll move us into step number 6, where we get that property over to the title company. Now that you've got that contract with the seller, you've got that contract with the buyer, you've got the buyer's earnest money deposit, it's time to get these things to the title company or your closing attorney. So Once that happens, they get all that paperwork. They're going to go through, do everything on the back end. You don't have to worry about any of that information because that's what they do for a living. But the one thing you are going to want to make sure you do is to stay up with them and make sure that everything is going smoothly in that process. Now, why is this? Because if the seller doesn't hear anything from you, they have no idea what's going on in that process and they think you may have flaked out on them. And the same thing may happen with your buyer. So you don't want anything of that nature to happen because you want to close this deal so you can get paid. So make sure that you keep in contact with the seller and the buyer throughout this entire closing process. And that'll lead us into the last thing that's going to happen once we get this deal closed. The title company just gave us a call and they're ready to close. The buyer is going to bring their funds to the table to close out the rest of the deal. The seller is going to show up, sign some paperwork, pass out these keys to the new buyer. That way we can get our assignment check. That's the entire process right there in a nutshell. Now, it's not of course, it's not an in-depth of an A to Z on closing a property deal, but of course, I mean, anything can happen in a deal. So you may have to, like I said, save a deal, renegotiate with the seller, renegotiate with the buyer. Anything can happen with this house in the time that you sign a contract. So that way you want to make sure that you stay in this deal the entire time. For most of us, you guys are just starting and you don't have an acquisitions manager. You don't have anybody else there to help you. It's just you. So make sure that when you're doing these steps of the motivated seller, negotiating the deal, finding your cash buyers, talking to your attorney and your title company, that you stay in these deals closely until you get to that point where you can then get some help and then you can kind of back out of that situation on a day-to-day basis. But this is how you wholesale a house from A to Z. This has been Brian with the Wholesaling Playbook. Like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And also check out the website as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.